Seth Rollins finally unleashes the fury, Roman Reigns and the betrayal that changed everything. In the world of professional wrestling, few rivalries have ever been as compelling, as heated, and as emotional as the one that has brewed between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. These two men were once brothers, fighting side by side as part of the Shield, one of the most dominant factions WWE has ever seen. But that bond has long since crumbled, leaving behind not brotherhood, but a searing animosity that has come to define their bitter feud. And now, Seth Rollins has finally reached his breaking point. Tonight, we dive deep into a story of betrayal, frustration, manipulation, and above all, respect, a story that has exploded in front of millions around the world. This isn't just about titles. This isn't just about a championship opportunity. This is about legacy. This is about the years of frustration, of being overshadowed, and of being cast aside when it mattered the most. This is Seth Rollins finally saying enough is enough, and taking aim at the man he blames for it all, Roman Reigns. So buckle up, because the storm Seth Rollins has unleashed is about to leave a mark on WWE that will be felt for years to come. The frustration builds. It all began on a quiet night backstage. The WWE universe had been buzzing about the upcoming events, and rumors were swirling. Seth Rollins, the man who had carried Monday Night Raw for years, was seen pacing back and forth in the shadows. His eyes were filled with fire, and his every movement radiated frustration. For years, Seth had given everything to WWE. He had fought through pain, through betrayals, through injuries. He had been a constant. The workhorse. The visionary. Yet, time and time again, he had been overshadowed by Roman Reigns, the so-called tribal chief. The man who, despite being the face of the company, had stolen spotlight after spotlight. And in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, Seth Rollins found himself standing on the precipice of another betrayal. Seth approached someone close to him, his voice low, almost a whisper, but his words heavy with intent. "Listen to your heart," he said. "Don't listen to what's being whispered in your ear." What was Seth referring to? Who was he speaking to? The tension in the air was thick, and Seth's words sent a chilling message. Someone was being manipulated. Someone was being used. And Seth knew exactly who was behind it all. Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman. The power players pulling the strings from behind the curtain. And Seth Rollins? Well, he had had enough. The breaking point, the championship opportunity stolen. For Seth Rollins, it wasn't just the betrayal that stung. It was the stolen opportunity. Just weeks before WrestleMania, Seth had been on the cusp of reclaiming what he felt was rightfully his, a WWE championship shot. The road had been long and grueling, but Seth Rollins had earned his place. But then came the moment that shattered it all. That elusive championship opportunity, the one Seth had fought for, was ripped from his grasp. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't fate. It was a calculated move, one orchestrated by Roman Reigns. Seth believed it with every fiber of his being. Roman Reigns, with his manipulative tactics and his underhanded ways, had once again stolen the spotlight. And Seth? Seth was tired of being pushed aside. For years, Seth had been the heart of Raw, the constant performer, the man who had never let WWE down. And yet, every time Roman Reigns took center stage, Seth's sacrifices seemed to be forgotten. It was time for that to change. This wasn't just a fight for a title. This was a fight for respect. This was a fight for legacy. The storm unleashed, Seth versus CM Punk. And then, just as it seemed the storm might settle, another chaos-filled moment unfolded. CM Punk, the controversial figure who had stirred up WWE with his return, found himself face to face with Seth Rollins. But this wasn't a typical confrontation. What was supposed to be a simple verbal exchange turned into something much more. A brawl broke out. But it wasn't just any brawl. This wasn't about pride. This wasn't about titles. No. This was about everything that had been simmering beneath the surface. The anger. The frustration. The feeling of being overlooked for too long. Seth Rollins and CM Punk tore through the arena, battling in a chaotic frenzy that left the WWE Universe on the edge of their seats. The sound of punches echoed. Bodies collided. The chaos seemed endless. But amidst all this, there was one thing that was clear: Seth Rollins was no longer just fighting CM Punk. Seth Rollins was fighting for something much bigger. He wasn't fighting for pride. He wasn't even fighting for respect, he was fighting to expose Roman Reigns. To expose the puppet master who had been pulling the strings from behind the scenes. Seth's eyes were locked on one man and one man only, Roman Reigns. The real enemy, Roman Reigns, and the manipulation. Roman Reigns had built an empire. He had manipulated his way to the top, using the power of the bloodline, the influence of Paul Heyman, and his own ruthless will to take what he wanted. But at what cost? For Seth Rollins, the cost had been everything. It wasn't just about the title. It wasn't just about the championship opportunity stolen from him. It was about Roman Reigns' constant manipulation, his ability to pull the strings from behind the scenes, and his complete disregard for those who had helped build WWE into what it was today. Seth Rollins had been a part of WWE's foundation. He had fought through everything, only to be sidelined again and again by Roman's dominance. But Seth knew the truth now. Roman was no longer just the tribal chief. He was the puppet master. And it was time for Seth to take control of the narrative. The future, what's next for Seth Rollins? So what's next for Seth Rollins? What comes after this explosive eruption of emotion? After everything that has transpired, where does Seth go from here? One thing is certain, the war between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns is far from over. In fact, it's only just beginning. The WWE Universe has witnessed the collapse of a once strong bond, a bond that once held the foundation of the Shield together. Now, Seth Rollins is standing alone, ready to fight for everything he believes in, his legacy, his respect, and his place at the top of the WWE mountain. Seth Rollins has reached the edge. And now, the fire he's unleashed will burn through anyone who stands in his way. The era of manipulation is over. The age of Seth Rollins is just beginning. Stay tuned, because what comes next will change everything. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the Wrestling News CC family, where the real stories of WWE come to life. See you in the next one.